Three, two, one. Well, it's 1983 and video games are pretty much done with, right? Well, leave it to good old innovation and the advancement of microprocessing to change the game and save us all from an awful eternity of Atari consoles. But first, let's back up to the PC revolution. Unlike the video games that pushed them to greater technological advances, the computer industry found that competition was a good thing. By the middle of the 80s, it would appear that the personal computer market was as saturated as the second-generation console market, but the difference in quality and control was obvious. Compared to consoles, PCs were hefty investments where quality was all but assured. Moreover, the integration and easy-to-learn command line and eventual dominance of GUIs outshone systems designed solely to play only games. PCs could do it all, from the office to the home to daycare. It's important to note that Britain became computer literate faster than any other nation due to government support in correctly guessing that the age of the computer was upon us in the early 80s, and still is. Similar computer education in America would find taxpayer support in public schools. I definitely still remember Oregon Trail on those old Apple IIe's back in 1999, I want to say. We're a little behind. While PCs were loudly dominating the middle and upper classes, home consoles are making a quiet comeback. If you own a 360, Wii, or PS3 today, many thanks can be given to Shigeru Miyamoto. The game developer is the Stan Lee of the video game world. He created the characters Mario, Luigi, Link, and Zelda in the 80s as the NES gained popularity. He essentially created a trademark for a new generation of games with the face of an Italian plumber. He popularized the concepts of pencil and paper role-playing games like D&D with Link's 8-bit quest through Hyrule. His innovation in the way you interact with the screen, a far cry from the paddle and the dot, promoted new interest in video games and created a high-quality market, shared by Nintendo's great nemesis, Sega. Speaking of Sega, though I only remember two friends that ever favored the Genesis, it kicked the crap out of the NES in terms of processing capabilities. And there was the mascot there too, but then came the Super Nintendo. The first Christmas present I actually remember getting. The games were better, the controller was smoother, and the established trademark just seemed to do it for the bandwagon seekers, in terms of Nintendo. But the two were on the verge of edging each other out of business in America into the 90s until Sony entered the game. The PlayStation changed everything, again. With its CD-based games, 3D graphics, and powerful 32-bit processor, powerful for the time, it didn't seem to outpace either of its rivals. At the same time, the Sega Saturn was 32-bit, and the light to the game N64 had twice the power without annoying load times. But the PS1 sold almost 3 times better than the N64 and Saturn combined, mostly due to a marketing strategy that made it seem as necessary as the TV that made it possible. And that's the kind of thinking that prevented a future video game crash and brings us to next week's industry advancement, the internet. Until then, thanks.
Good job, baby.
Sound alright? Did that make any sense to you?
Yeah.